The God Valley flashback continues, and Oda, I am surprised. Usually you tease us, but you're giving us the full flashback. And we all have to say thanks to Loki, because this is actually a Loki Elbaf flashback. So the fact that we're getting God Valley through Loki's flashback is pretty insane, if I'm being completely honest. Now, the two main things that I took away from this chapter was, first of all, epic moments from Legends of Legends, and secondly, emotional moments. Surprisingly, when Oda said he wouldn't do these type of emotional moments. So it's cool to see, of course, what we're getting now in the final saga of One Piece. Every day I get surprised, every chapter. It's amazing. And if you guys want more content like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notification. I'm still thinking if I should continue doing chapter videos or just make my discussion videos a main thing on this channel, but it depends on the feedback in the comment section. But in this chapter, the first thing I have to talk about is Monkey D. Garp. Like, we already knew this guy was legendary and goated, but now we have to put respect on his name, as he attacked Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido. Yes, the Yonko, the emperors from pre-time skip. And they ran, they didn't fight him. Whitebeard saying this fight will drag on too long. Whitebeard probably has experience fighting Garp in the past, so he doesn't want that smoke because they have a mission. Kaido wants to do something about it because he's never seen Garp probably. He's like, yo, why don't we just fight back? Who cares? And Big Mom says, shut the hell up, and attacks Garp because she knows how strong Garp is, but she says still knows that Kaido does a plan. We do have to do some resistance to get away. She does Zeus and Prometheus, Heavenly Fear, Blitz, a combo attack, but Garp pretty much just tanks the attack while talking shit about Sharp Big Mom, showing that they have a relationship in the past. And that kind of pisses off Big Mom when Garp was talking to shit. And now it makes me think of when Big Mom was talking to Luffy in Fishman Island. She mentioned Monkey D. Garp, and Whitebeard looking at Garp at Marineford saying he's just an old Marine. It definitely gives context to their relationship, because these guys are similar in age, Garp, Whitebeard, and Big Mom. Even though Garp is significantly, I can say significantly, but he's pretty much older than Whitebeard and Big Mom by a gap. Still, they're around the same age, guys, if you're thinking about, if we're being honest. And like I said, One Piece did an emotional aspect for Silver's Rayleigh one-shotting Summers. And it makes me think, if Silver's Rayleigh is the one who one-shotted Summers, why is he so scared of Scarpa Gabon? I know they're pretty much the wings of Roger, but wouldn't you be scared of Rayleigh more so than Gabon? Unless Gabon takes down Summers for good in the next chapter, who knows? But yeah, Rayleigh does that attack. Not a lot of hockey on the attack. Looks like he didn't go too hard when defeating Summers, and gets Shakky. And it's pretty emotional because of the letter and the build-up between Rayleigh and Shakky. If I'm being honest, knowing how Rayleigh and Shakky are connected pre-time skip to Luffy, it makes it all the more sweeter seeing this moment. Even though Roger and Gabon are so pissed off and heartbroken, they're like, yo, Rayleigh, let's get back to business. No more emotional sweet talk with the girl that every pirate wanted. I also want to mention Shiki, Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom. They put the pirates to bed that were pretty much trying to take down the Rocks pirates. And I think Oda did this on purpose, having Whitebeard and Shiki, Big Mom, and Kaido. And there was a statement, I believe, I don't know how accurate it was, but it said if there was a Yonko system back when after Roger got executed, it would have been Shiki, Big Mom, Roger, and Whitebeard. And of course we know that Kaido rose up to Yonko status after Roger was dead, so this is kind of like the Yonkos after Roger's death, the strongest pirates after Roger left the pirate world. The Great Pirate Era started, and these guys were the four strongest. And it's cool to see, honestly, them interacting and doing a combo attack to destroy everybody. They are the big shots. I also like how the beginning of the chapter, they kind of sets the tone. Roger's after Shakky. We all know he's after Shakky for Rayleigh in a sense. We have Rocks after Ares and Teach, his girl and his kid, which gives Rocks kind of the best motive. And then we have Garp after Roger, which is his rivalry with Roger, trying to take him down. Smoker, Luffy vibes, pre-time skip. And these are the three main characters of this era. Oda already pretty much emphasizes this with the narrative. The narrator talking about it. But a lot of people looking at Roger like, come on, of all these motives, you have the worst one. They kind of give Roger an L since we're getting more in-depth look at Roger. But I think Roger is who he is, guys. Like, he's not gonna put on a stunt. He's not the most charismatic guy, if I'm being honest, but he doesn't have to be. He's pretty much, his power is gonna stand for himself. He's so goofy and everything right now, but when it's time to fight, you know, there's a reason why Garp is chasing Roger. There's a reason why Rocks was said to be Roger's greatest foe. Like, these guys are, Roger is still legendary. He became Pirate King, not Garp. Garp, of course, is here in the Marines, but Garp didn't stop from being Pirate King, and Rocks was never anointed as Pirate King. It was Roger over Whitebeard, over Kaido, over Big Mom, over Shiki, over every pirate. Roger was the pinnacle of pirates since Joy Boy, who was the first pirate. So yeah, I gotta respect a little bit what Roger's doing, because people like to get lost in the sauce with their characteristics and what they're doing. Also gotta say, seeing Roger and Whitebeard fight again kind of emphasizes, yes, Whitebeard is the vice captain to the Rocks Pirates, but he's still Roger's rival. Seeing them clash here was pretty epic in my opinion. Seeing the after effect too of their clash, even though their Conqueror's Hockey coded attack clash years later was more powerful, it shows that Whitebeard and Roger are not in their primes on God Valley. They're close to their primes, but I don't think they're on their peak yet, whereas Rocks is at his peak, and that's why there's going to be the whole team of Garp and Roger versus Rocks. But I'm not too sure where Oda's going to go. Is it the Rocks crew or is the Rocks pirate crews? I still think Roger and Rocks are going to have a 1v1 in my opinion. Also, Captain John with Eustace Kid's Devil Fruit. That is a crazy plot twist. I never thought Captain John would have Eustace Kid's Devil Fruit, and if he's awakened Eustace Kid's Devil Fruit, this awakened Devil Fruit was part of the reason why Big Mom was taken down. And wouldn't Big Mom recognize Eustace Kid's Devil Fruit in Captain John? Like, I'm not too sure where Oda's going with this. If Oda is gonna confirm that Captain John had Eustace Kid's Devil Fruit, that is gonna have to be a lot of things that have to be explained through Kaido, through Big Mom. We do know that Kaido did want Kid on his crew. Maybe he saw Captain John's Devil Fruit, was like, yo, okay, I want to mimic his own Captain Rocks and getting a guy like that on his crew. We know his Devil Fruit was pretty epic, pretty cool. But yeah, I wonder what Oda's going to do with Captain John, because we know Captain John, Ochoku, Silver Axe are still legendary pirates as well. So I wonder what Oda's going to do. When you see Silver Axe in the chapter actually pushing Shiki's face away, like, even though Shiki is in that 4 pirates that Silver Axe is in when it comes to Shiki, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido. Also, seeing Whitebeard save Dragon was pretty cool. And seeing Whitebeard like stand over Dragon that huge, same way Big Mom does as well. We all know that they towered over Luffy as well, so to see that doing like father like son. Also, Big Mom is pissed off at Newgate Shiki as well for the way he's fighting. Like, he has the strongest Premiership, guys. He cannot control the insane, pretty much the insane power through the strongest man has. And Dragon is in awe of how big they are. I think this is cool, seeing Whitebeard and Dragon and Big Mom have an interaction where they're not actually interacting. And then we see this Holy Knight Satchel from the Satchel family named Maffy with horns that reminds me of the Flying Six. And just like the Flying Six, she has, how to say this, lackluster ability. Yeah, she's a Holy Knight. She has a Pacifista beam and she's immortal. But guys, yeah, she used it on a 17-year-old dragon that is not at peak dragon level. And you see how she's mentioned Garling. She's surprised that he has a kid because of how much of an asshole he is. So expect Garling to be super evil now that he's a Gorosei member. One of the more evil Goroseis, probably the most evil one if I'm being honest, guys. Dragon says to himself that he needs to save these kids for atonement. And after he gets attacked, he's like, yo, I deserve death. Pretty much for having a play at hand in what's going on in God Valley. Dragon is really reeling because of God Valley. It kind of reminds me of Kobe during Marineford. If I'm being honest, he gives me more Kobe vibes than Luffy, which I will explain probably in a later video. And then, of course, I have to mention as well the fact that Dragon got really triggered by Ohara. Like, he just really does not like the actions of the world's government. So, Garp, you can't really blame your son for leaving this heinous group. Also, seeing Shiki mad at Whitebeard definitely gave me Zoro Sanji vibes. I noticed Shiki got mad at Whitebeard multiple times. They are the strongest Rocks crew members other than Rocks. Like, Shiki fought Garp and Sengoku and destroyed half Marineford. Whitebeard clashed with Roger multiple times on God Valley, and after God Valley, like, yeah, they are the strongest after Rocks, if I'm being honest. And they probably think they have a chance of even beating Rocks in a fight, even though I think Rocks is stronger. Then seeing Kaido mad at Linlin for straying away from the plan. We see that Kaido and Linlin have a great relationship, kind of builds up Wano too as well. We know that Big Mom believes that Kaido owes her something because of the Devil Fruit he gains on God Valley. I also loved how Dragon was shocked to see his dad, Garp, and the aura that Garp had as well, while Dragon is in a weak aura state. And honestly, Luffy reminds me more of Garp than Dragon, which I don't mind. I like the difference between Dragon and his father, Garp, and his son, Luffy. It's really good contrast, and when we see Dragon have his relationship with Garp growing up, and when we see Dragon finally meet Luffy, it's going to be more impactful. You do not want similar in with these guys. Garp and Luffy, it's okay, because, yeah, that's grandpa's son, but the father's son is much more deeper. Garp and Dragon is going to be much more deeper than Garp and Luffy, and Dragon and Luffy is going to be much more deeper than Luffy and Garp. So, yeah. Also, Shakky's not a weakling. She took out fodder. She was a former captain of the Kuja Pirates. She was chained up while taking out this fodder. Yeah, Summer slaps her, saying for pretty much her knowing her worth because she knows the pirates are thirsting for her. She then, of course, kicks him boa style, which does damage to Summers, even though he grabs the attack, and he hits her with the Thorns attack that we seen in Elbaf. Shakky is not a weakling, honestly. I think Boa is still stronger than Shakky and Glorioso in their prime, but because of her hack stealth food. But honestly, they're up to par with Shakky when it comes to combat ability, and Shakky has shown more combat ability than Glorioso yet. I still want to see her. She's strong enough to be part of the Rock's crew, a main crew, so she has to be strong. So I can't wait to see how strong Gloriosa is when they're fighting on God Valley in the next chapters. Also, Roger leaves Shakky to Rayleigh and says his hands are tied with a glare. Probably wanted Rayleigh to save her after the secret talk, and probably just fooling his crew. You guys have to stop underestimating Roger, guys. He's not that much of an idiot, yo. He's actually more smarter than Luffy, in my opinion, and I do think he is playing, how to say, is a game on us in a sense as the audience. He does know what's really going on, and we're gonna see more Roger in a better aura light soon when he goes interacts with Rock. So yeah, his hands are tied, quotation mark. It's not really that tied. His hands are really gonna be tied when he's actually dealing with Rocks. And the cover story, yeah, we see all the fallen people from Wano, Odin, Toki, Ashura Doji, Izo. Yes, I can go on and on. But the one, there's a couple lanterns that are not really noticeable. And I think Moria might be one of the lanterns. They think Moria died, so he probably could be one of the lanterns, which could build up Moria more in this cover story than we're getting. Like Kozuki Moria is getting some hype, and he's probably going to return to Elbaf the way it's going. He just got released from Blackbeard's capture, so bring Moria back those time skip. Give him some hype. He was a thriller bar. He had his own arc. Let's give Moria back some cool stuff in this story.